Now I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Swedish developer Digital Illusions Creative Entertainment, aka EA DICE, who are mostly notable for the Battlefield series, Mirror's Edge, and one of the most hated video games in the medium's history. But before all that, even before Battlefield 1942, they developed a lot of not just pinball games, but also racing ones too, including V8 Challenge, Motorhead, Swedish Touring Car Championship, and even Midtown Madness 3 after Angel Studios were purchased by Rockstar Games. But the one I want to talk about is Rallisport Challenge, which came out exclusively for the Xbox on March 2002 because 1. You guys like it when I talk about racing games, and 2. As far back as I can remember, it's the first Xbox game I ever played. My introduction to Microsoft's foray into the console market. I remember the bulkiness of the Duke controller, how rubbish I was at this game, and the jump in graphics after all that time on the PlayStation 1 and getting a brief taste of the PlayStation 2. What a time to be a little kid. And because Rallisport Challenge is only worth peanuts, and there aren't that many reviews of this game out there, I've decided to have a look myself, give it the attention it deserves, and go back to why I liked it all those years ago. Like any racing game, the main goal is to win races and championships. In Rallisport Challenge, it utilizes a point system which tallies up based on races and championships won, car damage, race time, lap time, top speed, and reaching milestones unlock cars and more challenging events. I like that it has rally, hill climb, and rallycross gameplay all in one package, especially at a time when most rally games didn't. The Gran Turismo games were rallycross only with 2 cars on the track. WRC, which I reviewed a while ago, and Richard Burns Rally were strictly rally, and V-Rally allowed opponents on point-to-point stages. However, this compromises the landscape diversity. That's what makes rally games hard to make, because that kind of motorsport is set on lots of different terrains, elevations, countries. You can only fit so much into one game, which is why all the tracks can be raced in reverse. But at least there's dirt, sand, snow, ice, and tarmac, whilst adding rally, hill climb, and rallycross racing into the mix. They're enjoyable to drive on, and the co-driver certainly has his work cut out for him.
Medium left into hard right, caution, exposure. Over crest into hard right, caution, exposure.
Does he actually breathe? It's better to memorize the stages in advance. Graphically, by 2002 standards, it still looks nice, particularly the reflection effects on the cars and the draw distance. Although the texture of the road surface could have been better. It's hard to actually tell what is drivable road and what isn't. Now I understand it's rally, dirt, mud, forecast, etc. But apart from the HUD, how many colours can you see right now? Not much. Oh look, a blimp. Actually, look at the speedometer / rev counter. Looks like something that belongs in Need for Speed Underground 2. Even busier than the co-driver.
Easy right, narrows into hard right, careful rocks outside. Hard left, caution, exposure. Hard right.
I was worried the emulation would be too much for the Xbox 360 to handle after playing Project Gotham Racing recently. The slowdown was abysmal. I guess that's what makes my reviews of original Xbox games unique. You get to see how they play on the 360. Rallisport Challenge is better, but not perfect. The most obvious setback is the loading screen. It should look like this, but it actually looks like this. The first time I played it, I thought it crashed or something, but don't worry, it doesn't. What does crash it is trying to watch the game demos. It just goes straight to the Xbox 360 home. Big deal, these games are out by now. Other minor glitches include colorless directions, and sometimes it won't pause when you want it to. But fortunately there's no slowdown, with a few frame rate drops, but nothing like Project Gotham Racing. And it runs in 60 frames per second on a native widescreen.
Easy left into tight hairpin right. Over crest into hard left into hard right.
Rallisport Challenge has a timeline variety of cars ranging from the 70s to the 2000s. Stats make a little bit of a difference because there was one event where I was struggling using one of the regular rallycross cars, but then after selecting one of the classic ones, it was a breeze. So whenever you unlock any special cars, pick them, especially those hill climb ones. But more importantly, always stick with 4-wheel drive. Because it's been such a long time and having already played a lot of rally games in that span, I was a little bit rusty at first. but the controls are simpler than I expected. Although every time I try to handbrake turn, I either come to a complete stop or fall off a cliff, and whenever I go past a checkpoint where I literally go full throttle, I go slower than the opponents. There seems to be a lot of long, bumpy straight roads on these tracks. I'm always worried the engine's gonna blow up. Oh my god. You saw that, right? Let's replay that. Yes, I did a barrel roll without damage, kept going and won the event like nothing happened. That would make global news right there. The gravity is certainly heavier than I thought.
Take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy. Now I obviously try to win because I want to unlock what the rest of the game has to offer, but I like the driving aspect the most. Only properly good racing games can do that. However, after reaching the unlimited events, I still couldn't master the handbrake. It's probably just me. I mean, the opponent drivers seem to drift less. But since I'm winning, maybe they're the ones not driving correctly. Almost every time I start a rallycross race, the opponent runs straight into me, and whenever you're side by side, they love to pit maneuver. Seriously, what is it with racing games exclusive to the original Xbox having aggressive opponents on the track? It seems to be a recurring theme lately. Honestly though, I love it because it adds to the excitement and it motivates you to win even more.
That was your fastest lap ever.
It would be the usual routine of starting badly, then catching up and winning almost easily. It doesn't have the best difficulty curve. It's too easy at first, as you can tell from the gameplay. I selected normal difficulty, by the way, which was the hardest option at first. Then all of a sudden it tells you to stop messing around even if you didn't hear it.
Take it easy.
But the only thing about this game I hate is not being able to restart nor practice. Look, practice makes perfect. You're not going to place first every single time unless you're lucky. And the fact that this game kind of expects you to do so, even though the smallest invisible pebble can kill your whole race, maybe even the championship, is unreasonable. To be fair, by the time it gets more difficult, you'll have enough track memorization, there aren't that many tracks to begin with, and you can access most of these events you're having trouble with on other game modes like Time Trial, which do let you restart, and I did that sometimes. And it doesn't exactly have the difficulty of Richard Burns Rally because of its pick up and play mechanics. So overall, it's still more enjoyable than frustrating.
Excellent, you just broke the track record.
Rallisport Challenge is one of those games that you find at thrift stores, swap meets, or online dirt cheap, but it certainly doesn't play like it belongs there. Unfortunately, only one sequel was made thanks to lackluster sales, and after DICE became a subsidiary of EA in 2006, that was the end of that. Not just for the series, but developing racing games, period. With only one exception, collaborating with Criterion Games to develop Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, the 2010 one. It's a shame because these are really good games. I don't know why Microsoft and Turn 10 haven't considered taking the Forza Motorsport titles to the gravel, sand and snow like Gran Turismo do. Maybe in Forza Motorsport 8 in the next generation? But point being, Rallisport Challenge is a fun racing game that's an easy recommendation, especially if it's cheap like most races from the early 2000s.
Easy left, tightens, careful exposure. Over finish.